What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I'm running a very fun, new, and fresh Fairy Double Ghost team. That is going to be the Galarian Weezing there on the lead, Shadow Dusknoir with Astonish, and a Dusclops safe swap. This team was actually pretty impressive. The Dusknoir was phenomenal. Now, there's going to be a lot of back and forth throughout the season, and I think both moves are viable. That's going to be Hex or Astonish. Both are great. I don't think you can go wrong. Astonish brings you a bit more fast move damage pressure, while Hex brings you better energy gain. But overall, I think they're fantastic. I decided to go with Astonish because of the farm down capabilities that we have. And this team overall was a lot of fun to use, so I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Weezing on the lead versus Shadow Superior. This is actually a pretty good matchup because now of the Sludge update. Sludge, which Galarian Weezing has access to, is very low energy and does good damage, and they do decide to swap into the hardest counter on this team, and that is going to be Shadow Drapion. Shadow Drapion is kind of tough to deal with, but this team can handle it. Now, you guys saw what the Sludge did there. We're going to go ahead and stay in and look to go for Brutal Swing, as this is getting the Shadow Drapion pretty low. And then I decide to swap into Dusclops. And what I'm looking to do here is just soak all the damage. Invest nothing in Dusclops. I still need my Weezing, and I need my Dusknoir, and I need my shields. So basically, Dusclops right now is just a sacrificial sponge. I lose switch advantage, that's fine. But the energy is gone on Shadow Drapion. This is why I think Astonish on Shadow Dusknoir can be really powerful. Because what you guys are going to see is we're going to be able to aggressively farm down Pokemon that resist its charge move. And the neutral or super effective damage is amazing. So Dusknoir gets the farm down. We have tons of energy. They have a Morpeko in the back. And as you guys can see, that's resisted, right? That is a dark electric on the other side. And Astonish is still putting in work. Shadow Dusknoir is a monster. This thing is a new, very strong sweeper that you guys need to watch out for, because it also got access to Dynamic Punch, and Dynamic Punch got an upgrade as well, where it costs less energy to use. And this, I'm telling you guys, Dusknoir is going to be a monster. I think we're going to see it as an option on a lot of teams. And then based on the team dynamic, whether you're in competitive play Pokemon with Team 6 or you're in blind 3s, I decided to no shield here because my Weezing is my key to victory, is going to determine if you decide to run the Hex or the Astonish variant. But I'm loving what Astonish is doing. It gives me aggressive farm downs. You guys are going to see it time and time again in this series, how strong it can be. Now we're up against the Superior here at the end of the game. I'm going to shield. It's going to be Frenzy Plant, so thankfully that was a lot of energy, and we should be able to go for the Sludge here, and this basically one-shots. This is a Shadow Superior, so this Sludge is now like we're cooking with the damage. As you guys can see, we do one more fast move, and we are able to take it, so good game to my opponent. Alright, moving to the next one, we have Weezing versus Shadow Drapion on the lead. Again, like, toughest Pokemon for this team to be facing off against. Shadow Drapion isn't going anywhere. Fairy double. I mean, you could use other fairies as well besides the Weezing, but I really wanted to use 3 Pokemon that kind of got updated to some extent, right? The Dusclops got the Hex update, Dusknoir got multiple updates, and then the Galarian Weezing got the Sludge update. So we're going to be looking to go for double Sludge here. I'm going to risk it and no shield. I feel like the Aqua Tail from this range, or even the Crunch, it's going to be Aqua Tail, isn't going to be enough. And this is what I notice with the Drapion teams. You just want to get them low and then come in and farm down. Now they decide to no shield, which allows me to farm down, and I swap into Dusclops right away. This team also benefits from utilizing sacrificial swaps. Much like any team we see in the Open Great League, you want to be saving those Pokemon, because that Dusclops or the Weezing later is going to come in clutch in some of these games to be a third shield for me. Now, Dusclops versus the Blastoise matchup is really interesting because we can survive 1 Hydro Cannon, which is great, but we can't survive 2. So now I have a hard decision in front of me, and I'm going to decide to no shield and invest all of my shields into the Dusknoir. Again, Blastoise here is in a range where I could farm down with Astonish. Look at the damage we are putting out, and there we go. We got a beautifully timed swap because I know Blastoise had to throw it there, otherwise they would have gone down, which allowed me to easily predict that and catch the charge move. Could I have used a shield myself? Yes, but when you have opportunities like that to catch a charge move where they have to throw or they go down, they're gonna throw and you can just catch it. So now we have a Shadow Abomasnow in the back, and I just want you guys to look at Astonish damage. This is what I'm talking about. You still get good energy gain, right? The Astonish energy gain is nothing to scoff at. It's not as powerful as Hex, but the fast move pressure is dominant for these end game situations, so good game to my opponent. All right, next we have another tough matchup. That's going to be the Dunsparce. Dunsparce core breaks this team pretty hard, right? Defensively, it's dominant against ghost-type Pokemon, especially ones that were relying on fast move damage like we are. Secondly, it has Drill Run for the Wheezing because of the poison typing. So it's teamwork make the dream work kind of situation here. We got to utilize Dusclops. You guys are going to find that Dusclops on your team is just going to be soaking damage and applying chip damage in a lot of places. You're really not going to be giving this thing shields. You want to be saving shields for the potential Wheezing or Shadow Dusknoir sweep, which is great because Dusclops is built to be a tank. It's built to absorb multiple charge moves, get off some chip damage, get some pressure down like we are right there. We now have a 2-to-1 shield advantage, and I want you guys to notice what my opponent is not doing. They are not swapping out yet, right? If they're not swapping out, maybe they're weak to Ghost. Maybe they have something in the back that is weak to a Dusclops. So now we're going to bring in the Wheezing once again back into this matchup, but we're going to be able to go for Brutal Swing here just before they can throw the Drill Run. This should be enough chip damage to knock out the Dunsparce, which is perfect. And now we get to see that they have a Swampert, and we're just going to unleash the Dusknoir. It is once again Abomasnow in the back, and Dusknoir is in a very powerful position. Look, we're already outpacing in terms of fast move damage. We have a 2-to-1 shield advantage, or now it's 1-to-1, but you guys can see the pressure that we are able to put on. And what's really cool is the Wheezing that we have is not Shadow. Shadow could work, but this is the only one that I had. And because of that, I'm going to be able to survive charge moves that I otherwise wouldn't because I'm not taking 20% more damage. So we give up our final shield there. We're going to look to go for Shadow Punch. Could I have farmed down? It would have been close. I decided to go for the Shadow Punch here and knock out. And then we go for the Shadow Punch against the Swampert. I could have gone for the Dynamic Punch, I think, but I really didn't want to risk it. So we're just going to get the guaranteed damage. And look at that damage. That is beautiful. And the Swampert has to throw. They cannot commit to a farm down right here, which means they're not going to be able to get to multiple Hydro Cannons against my Wheezing. And even though we are taking super effective damage from Mud Shot right here, it all comes down to the Hydro Cannon. Is it going to be enough to KO? No, we survive, and we are able to get off the Brutal Swing and clutch up a nice win here when we face off against the Dunsparce on the lead. So good game to my opponent. All right, moving to the next battle. We have Wheezing on the lead versus Superior once again. We saw this in game 1, but this time it's non-Shadow, and once again they swap into Shadow Drapion. Now, these are obviously different trainers. This is Go Battle League, but the setup's the same. It's Superior into Shadow Drapion, Drapion. Why did I say Drapion? All right, that's weird. Sludge, right? We're just going for it. We can utilize our Dusclops and Dusknoir to handle the Superior in the back. I'm not too worried about it. It's not a big threat, but what is a big threat is the Shadow Drapion. So we're going to look to, I think I decide to no shield here. Yeah, decide to no shield. It is going to be Aqua Tail, and then I swap into the Dusknoir and go for the aggressive farm down. So we get 2 fast moves worth of energy right there. And we save the Wheezing for a sacrificial swap later on because, once again, we're going to need it in order to win this game as the Superior now comes in. So them choosing to come in with Superior gives me a sigh of relief that there is no Mandibuzz in the back. This team can still do decent against Mandibuzz because we do have the Dynamic Punch, the Ice Punch, and the Sludge, which is all, neutral damage. So it's team effort for Mandibuzz, but overall, this is looking to be a very powerful position because the Superior had to come in to an already loaded energy Shadow Dusknoir with 2 shields, so they're not in a good position. I'm going to go ahead and swap into Wheezing, but I don't get the catch. So now I have to come in with Dusclops, right? I can't be giving up my final shield. I don't know what they have in the back, and Dusclops is the sponge on this team. So you just let it catch the Frenzy Plant here. This is its job. We can still get a nice farm down, and they're going to be swapping out here into Steelix is going to be the final Pokemon. So there's still an opportunity to win this game because we can do so much neutral damage with the Shadow Punch, Hex, and Astonish. So we're going to be looking to no shield right here. I got to save my final shield for the Shadow Dusknoir in order to have a chance at winning this game because it is my sweeper. And I noticed they're deciding to go for Psychic Fangs. So this is going to be kind of interesting because it's going to come down to fast move pressure. So I go for another Shadow Punch. I swap into Dusknoir to clear the debuff. And now we are in a tough position because I have to shield, obviously. But this is likely Psychic Fangs, which is going to debuff me. But now it's going to be a race between Thunderfang and Astonish. And they decide to swap into Superior to try to catch the charge move. But I held on to the energy, and now I can go for double Shadow Punch right here. So good attempted catch by my opponent, but I was ready for that. I was building up because I think I would have been able to outpace in terms of fast move damage anyways. So yeah, good game. Still had the Dusclops in the back with a decent amount of health as well, as they do decide to surrender right there, or close the phone. Good game. All right, moving to the next one. We have Gastrodon on the lead. So Gastrodon is a tough one. We got to go into Dusclops right away, and they're not swapping out, which is telling me maybe they're weak in the back. So I'm going to overload on energy and make sure we always have a good amount of energy just in case they decide to swap out. And sure enough, they do. They come in with Annihilate, which is a tough position to be in for them, right? The team that we have right now is going to delete any Annihilates out there in the meta. There's just way too much damage being output, whether it's Fairy Wind and Brutal Swing, Astonish and Shadow Punch. It really doesn't matter. Rage Fist as well is not enough to take us out. And what's great is the Annihilate here counters doing nothing. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to swap into our Dusknoir and go for an aggressive farm down. We are in a 2-to-1 shield position, and their best answer to my Dusclops was a Annihilate. Now, I got no clue what this is. All I know is it's a fairy with what it looks like. Swirly, is that Cinnabon ears or something? Like, we're just going to go ahead and Shadow Punch it down. Obviously very concerned about the charm damage, but this is kind of the tough thing about this situation is I have no clue what moves it has access to other than seeing charm, so I'm going to go ahead and shield it as Psychic Fangs, which is unfortunate, so I swap into Dusclops knowing they'd probably go for the Wombo combo, and because of that, it's a Body Slam, which does nothing, and this allows me to survive one extra fast move and go for the Shadow Punch here, which is much needed damage in order to win this game, because now the Gastrodon is low enough for a Brutal Swing. They don't have enough energy. I still have one shield remaining, and that is going to be a good game, very well played, as we go for the Brutal Swing. Now, you guys saw right there, their best answer for Dusclops was the Annihilate, which is not a great answer, like, at all, to be honest. So they were in a tough position against Double Ghost, which is why I leaned in hard with my Dusknoir there. Good game. All right, we got another Gastrodon on the lead. I'm going to swap into Dusclops right away. They are once again loading up on energy, but this time they decide to throw, and I think this is just Body Slam. I wouldn't have shielded anyways if it was Earth Power, but it's just going to be Body Slam, which is interesting because that does nothing to me. And they're also not swapping out. So maybe they are extremely weak to Ghost-type Pokemon, which makes Dusknoir sweep that much better. So I'm just going to keep overloading, and they swap out now into Feraligatr. So Feraligatr actually would have been a decent answer basically right away into the Dusclops because of Shadow Claw and the Hydro Cannon pressure. But now, since I'm so far ahead, I can get some free chip damage here against the Feraligatr. And all it comes down to is how much damage can I get against it before they throw, because now this determines what I'm going to be coming in with. If the Feraligatr was lower, I come in with the Wheezing. Since it's not, I don't want to get hit by a charge move, have to use a shield, so I got to come in with Dusknoir here, because we should be able to get the farm down in 3, which we do. So that's perfect. And then now that Gastrodon has a little bit of energy, but they come in with Clodsire instead. So we actually have a really good win opportunity. Clodsire has no fast move pressure against the Dusknoir, right? The Poison Sting into Ghost typing. And just look at the damage that we're outputting with fast and charge moves. This is great. That is a Clodsire on the other side, which is very tanky. One of the tankiest Pokemon in our meta right now. And they swap back into Gastrodon here. So I have to give up a shield, even though this could be just a body slam, right? I have to protect myself, and it was in fact Earth Power, which is great because now I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I can go for the Shadow Punch, and then I can counter swap now into Wheezing because I can go for Brutal Swing here to knock out the Gastrodon since they have no Protect Shields remaining. And then it all comes down to the Clodsire, which you guys can already see the win condition. It's letting the Wheezing go and letting Shadow Dusknoir win, right? Give it a shield. So the Earthquake will land. Boom! Down we go. We come in with the Dusknoir, not taking much damage from fast moves, so we should be able to comfortably survive here, comfortably in the red. So it's still a bit risky, but it's perfect as we can go for Shadow Punch to knock out the Clodsire. So that is going to be a good game to my opponent. But moral of the story so far with this team, Shadow Dusknoir puts in a lot of work. I've been really impressed with it as a sweeper. All right, moving to the next one. We have Primeape on the lead. Primeape, our whole team loves it. We just got to watch out for Rage Fist, but this is overall fantastic. They swap into Talonflame as well. And I believe that's a Talonflame with Fire Spin instead of Incinerate. So my opponent, again, we're still leveling up to 20. My opponent doesn't have the Legacy move right there, which is a bit more beneficial for us. Talonflame's still a great Pokemon, don't get me wrong. But if you can get Incinerate on it, that's actually really nice. But Dusclops is in a great position against Talonflames because they have to spend so much energy in order to take us down that we can just put a lot of shield pressure back, and you guys can already see we're in a great position here to do the aggressive farm down with Shadow Dusknoir like we did in many matches before, as we do get the second shield. So they really want to get switch advantage from me, which is fine. I'll let them have it because I don't think they realize that my whole team can beat the Primeape. They don't have that information like I do. So we're going to come in with Dusknoir. We're going to go for the aggressive farm down. I will have to give up a shield here, but having a 1-0 shield with this much energy on a Shadow Dusknoir is going to be very beneficial for us no matter what they have, really, as we will see the Primeape come in. So we're going to go for the Shadow Punch right away. This should do significant amount of damage, and then we can farm down. I could swap into Wheezing to kind of catch it so it's only neutral damage, but I decided to shield and farm down, and then we do see they actually swapped out into Superior. So I'm going to actually go for the first Dynamic Punch of this video, as I want to see how much damage this actually does to a Superior, and that's a lot. Now I swap into Wheezing, and that is going to be a good game, very well played, as our typing right there is very positive for us. All right, moving into the final battle of this game, we have another Dunsparce on the lead, but I misplay this lead. As you guys can see, there's 3, there's 4, and then I throw the Sludge. I shouldn't have done that. I should have thrown the Sludge before the 4th rollout and then caught it on Dusclops like I did in a previous game. Now I've got myself in a tough position where if there's a Shadow Drapion in the back, I just gave myself a lot of damage taken, so now I swap to catch it. So we're kind of in a similar situation. I have plenty of energy, but I really messed up my lead there on that game. And sure enough, there is a Drapion on the other side. It's not Shadow, but it's a Drapion nonetheless. And Drapion right here is in a very strong position because I'm not doing much damage with Ice Punch. If it's the Shadow variant, we actually really don't survive this crunch along with the previous Poison Sting damage, but because it's not Shadow, I'm able to get to another Ice Punch in time. So there's a give and take right there, as we'll be able to chunk the health. But this is very tough to be in because now the Drapion got a farm down. We have to go for Sludge. I need to get this thing out of here, but my Wheezing unfortunately doesn't have enough health in order to handle the rollout Dunsparce that we saw in the lead. So now it's all up to Dusknoir, and they get to another charge move. So this whole game's like shot. Like, this is the worst position to be in if you are running this team. Behind on shields, behind on energy, and a normal wall in the back. They actually have a Shadow Kanto Marowak as well, which is just going to mud slap me down. I mean, that's fine. I could have just top lefted, but we're going to go ahead and throw the Shadow Punch, the old Hail Mary, as they farm me down. So good game to my opponent. I misplayed myself, and then the Drapion right hard counters the team. So that was the team that was able to beat me there at the end, but overall this team had a great performance up to that. It's a new, fresh take on Fairy Double Ghost. I think the Shadow Dusknoir is something to note. Whether you want to run Hex or Astonish, I think both have their viability. But that Astonish, fast move pressure, and aggressive farm downs as a sweeper is very cool. Very cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.